Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of From the Rough. It's America's favorite golf podcast right here on FanStream Sports. I am IndyCarTim, and that guy right over there, PGA of America member, Johnny the Gerbinator, Gerber.
Well, we've talked about this now.
Approved nickname.
No, it's just awful. This is awful.
I'm sorry, Jonathan Riley Gerber.
That's not it at all. Earl's the middle name.
Jonathan Earl Gerber.
It's not Jonathan. It's not
John?
that either.
Did I know that?
John. It's just John. That's just what it is. It's like John Wayne.
Well, that wasn't his real name.
What was it? Oh, it wasn't?
His real name was Marion.
John Marion?
No. Marion, what was his last name? John Wayne's real name was Marion.
John Wayne Bobbitt?
No, it's different. Marion Morrison. That was John Wayne's real name. Yeah, you wonder why they changed it.
Yeah. Who was John Wayne Bobbitt? Didn't he get his Wango Tango cut off?
That's Lorena's husband. She chopped off his ding dong.
Yeah.
Because he was cheating on her. That's why you don't cheat, man. Actually, that's why. Okay, look.
Yeah.
We're all in here. Just don't get caught, okay?
That's better.
Don't get caught.
You know, to contrary belief, I've never cheated on a girlfriend.
I haven't either.
Not
since high school. I don't count high school or in middle school.
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
It doesn't count.
You can't pick and choose.
You can.
Where you cheat.
I was
watching a show last night. Called in the act Unfaithful on
that's the show. Yeah.
Man, I was like, man, these guys are stupid. What's wrong with these guys are stupid.
214-937-0569, the studio text line. Let us know if you've ever cheated and if you've ever gotten caught.
Yeah.
And how you got caught and if you had anything chopped off in the process.
Yeah.
214-937-0569, the FanStream Sports studio text line, as we are previewing the apparently the forgotten about 2025 RBC Canadian Open, because Johnny hates Canadian golf apparently. I had to just put everybody in their place on the JP Peterson show this morning when you came on to give your picks, because y'all just skipped right over the Canadian Open and went straight to the U.S. Open, and I was like, guys, what are we doing here?
Well,
we got golf this week.
Well, it's so close. I'm going to be down there. Me and JP is going to do some shows for the U.S. Open at Riveters, and we just got excited. It's at Oakmont.
Believe it when I see it.
We didn't forget. We didn't do the picks of the U.S. Open like we're going to do the picks for the Canadian Open.
Y'all are such charlatans.
Don't stop.
Charlatans.
Falsely claiming to have special knowledge or skill. A fraud. Well, first off, we're none of that.
Charlatans everywhere.
We might be larrikins.
Jamokes.
Yeah, we might be all that.
Larrikins.
Yeah, looking forward to next week doing a couple shows with JP down at Riveters and doing some U.S. Open. Now, can we talk U.S. Open next week? Is that okay with you, sir?
Yes. After we finish recapping on Monday the RBC Canadian Open, then we can talk all the U.S. Open. Now, we're probably going to talk a tiny bit of U.S. Open today. Just a very, very tiny bit. Before you give picks, because I have some interesting thoughts that I want to get to before next week, because I'll forget, because I'll be drinking before next week. We may get into that a little bit in the second segment of the show. But now that we've talked about getting our penises chopped off and everything like that, and how much Johnny cheated in elementary school on his girlfriend. And let us know also, is it cheating if you're in high school? Like, you can't cheat in high school. I feel like that's not a thing.
What about elementary school?
Definitely. You can cheat, but it doesn't count. None of it counts. If you're under the age of 18, it's not cheating.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want.
I mean, I don't know. I don't understand your theories, but.
And technically, look, I'll go a step further. If you're an adult and you're not married, it's not cheating. You know what? Get married if you want to be exclusive. No grown adult that's not married should be exclusive with another person.
Well, there's your dating advice for this show. Every Wednesday.
214-937-0569. Let's hear from you. It's not
you
cheating.
Should never get. It's not cheating if you never get married. Just go ahead and just.
Trust me, I found all that out the hard way.
pants off, dance off.
Hell, sometimes even if you are married, you know, whatever.
Sometimes when you score, you score. It's just what it is.
I mean, and also
sometimes when there's only one pickle in the pickle jar, you just got to eat that pickle.
Speaking of pickles and cheating, I mean, Jesus.
I don't know about that, but you know where that theory comes from. You know, if you only got one pickle in the pickle jar, you don't have any other options. That's what you just got to
eat that pickle.
I mean, it's just what it is.
If you're in a different zip code, it's not cheating. If you're in a different state, it's not cheating. There's other pickles that are available to you, and those are the only ones. So you got to eat that pickle.
Okay, well, I don't you're just
dating advice.
Is this what happens when we talk when Canada gets in the equation? We're able to talk Canada. Is this what they do in Canada?
Oh, everybody cheats in Canada. Yeah,
they do.
Well, now let me rephrase that. Everyone cheats in Quebec
because they don't know what language they're speaking.
Je m'appelle Timm et toi.
They don't know.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
It doesn't matter. All those French Canadian chicks, man.
No,
you can't hold them down.
They're cheap too. They're cheap.
Cannot hold them down.
There's a bunch of those when I was living in South Florida. They, you know, I don't stereotype. I don't do any of that stuff. If you're good, you're good. If you're bad, you're bad. It doesn't matter what you look like. They're bad. Just
they're
like
good.
No, they're bad. And now what's that garbage that they eat?
Poutine.
Poutine.
It's freaking delicious.
What is that? Potatoes and curds?
No, don't go anywhere in America and eat anything called poutine and think that it's that it's actual French poutine or Canadian poutine. It is not. Real poutine has cheese curds, French fries, gravy, and it's got to be brown gravy to be real poutine. And it's a Quebec thing, and it's amazing. But everybody else has their own. Like in America, they'll put cream or like breakfast gravy on it. They'll put it on mashed potatoes instead of French fries and call it. It's just dude. It is.
It don't even sound good.
Oh, it's amazing.
No wonder why they have a bunch of heart attacks up there.
Cheese curds, French fries, and hot brown gravy. That's literally all it is. That's all you need. That
sounds like loaded fries to me at Hooters.
Hooters wishes they could pull that off.
That's all it sounds like to me.
Speaking of pulling it off, Johnny, the question this week as we head into the 2025 RBC Canadian Open, can Robert McIntyre repeat? By the way, we will get into Johnny's picks if you haven't seen them yet today. Then you're a putz because he's already put them out on social media early this morning, and then we also talked about him on the JP Peterson show. So you're late to the game, but you still have time. We will talk about those later in the show, as well as my dartboard picks. And by the way, Johnny, no crossovers.
That means it's a winner. It's a winning week.
We're not crossing swords or crossing streams this week.
No, we could have both if we're talking dating talk. Well, we won't ever cross swords, but dating talk. We certainly are not going to have the same because your taste in women and my taste couldn't be so farther from heaven to hell. Let's just say that.
No, and we have examples of those. So, for instance, here's Johnny's love on the LPGA Tour. Here's my love, not on the LPGA Tour. I'm just going to steal her from Davis Thompson.
You might, as poorly as he's playing, you might have a shot.
And then after we both get shot down, here's us up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah, I'm not getting shot down. I've already put my feet in the mud, as we say.
I think I'm older than Holly's dad.
You're older than most dads.
That's probably true.
But
can most dads do this?
They certainly can have box head. They can't pull it off. They can't pull it off like you. Did it hurt when you? Oh, you don't even remember that night. So I was going to say, did it hurt the top of your head?
No, I do crap like that all the time.
Do you have splinters on there from that box?
No, there's no splinters on the box.
Jerome made those boxes. Those are pretty cool.
Oh, did he? Those are very cool boxes.
Yeah, I used to have them for like decor and stuff like that, and then I put a lot of golf balls in. Jerome was a good little craftsman. He Bob Vila.
You need to remind or tell Jerome that if they've got another use now, they're hats too. We've turned them into hats.
Yeah, top hats.
Maybe don't have to send them a picture or anything, but
we should just paint one and put From the Rough on there, and then just have you box it out.
Add a bill to one of it like a baseball cap.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nuts. But much to Johnny and JP's delight, there are only 4 rounds separating players from the third major of the season, as everyone is headed to Ontario for the 2025 Canadian Open. That will be the appetizer for next week's U.S. Open. TPC Toronto, it's a new course. For the Open, it is a 2-year deal. So they'll be there next year as well. It's not like a new course, but it's a new course for this tournament. And they've made some significant changes to it. I saw some of the, Taylor Pendrith, some of the other Canadians that have played here before up on the Canadian tour talking about it. And they've changed it drastically for the U.S. Open. And I've figured out that's why, Johnny.
Canadian Open.
I'm sorry,
so you got
the Canadian Open. And I figured out that's why it's a par 70 for the Canadian Open, because they've made 2 par 5s par 4s. So it normally is a par 72, as it should be. So I'll allow it a little bit. Plus, it's in Canada. And, I mean, even though it's Ontario, it's kind of Canada. But 2 of the par 5s on this course are now par 4s. So that's how they'll be playing it. Some of the guys talking about it early this week. I saw Taylor Pendrith on Golf Channel talking about it. The greens are still fairly soft as of today, but it's been pretty windy, so they're expecting it to dry out. The rough is quite rough. I don't expect it to be like it was at Muirfield this year or at next week's U.S. Open, but for some of these guys, it's going to be a little bit more difficult maybe than what they're used to. But it's going to play. It's a pretty open course for the most part, but that doesn't mean it's going to favor the long hitters necessarily. So it is a new course for a lot of these guys. They've never played it, so it's kind of even kill, really, even with some of the Canadians playing on it before. I don't know that they have necessarily an advantage over it. You've got 21 Canadians in the field this week, as my buddy Bobby Mack will be defending his title. We look forward to that. Some of the other, last year's leading Canadian, Corey Connors, is here. He finished 6th. Bobby Mack finished, by the way, at 16 under. I don't think you're going to get that low of a score this week, personally, Johnny. I'm looking at more like 12 or 11. Who's that going to be? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later, too. Ben Griffin finished 2nd, as we forget. He kind of started his run of almost wins here last year.
Yeah.
Before he broke through this season. Victor Perez was 3rd. Tom Kim and Rory McIlroy rounding out the top 5 before Corey Connors, and then Mackenzie Hughes also in the top 10. That Canadian dude. And then a slew of Americans finishing outside or tied for 10th. In Chandler Phillips, Keith Mitchell, Joel Damon, Sam Burns, Bo Hostler, Jacob Bridgman, Michael Kim, your boy Andrew Novak, Carson Young, Sam Stevens. By the way, on my card this week, Johnny, I've got a name that I've never put on there before. So I can't wait to see.
Cougar Rowley. There's a guy in the tournament named Cougar this week.
No, Cougar's not on my card.
Cougar
we'll be
Rowley,
keeping up with him. For sure. You've got other guys.
You think he likes young girls?
Cougar? No, he likes old girls.
I know.
Ladies. That's what a cougar is.
So I know.
I don't know how I feel about cougars, by the way. Sometimes like they're fun to look at. I just don't know if most of them are older, and so they're too smart for me. Like they don't fall for my.
Just because they're older, what do you consider older that's too smart for you? 8?
No, like
8 years old,
like my own age.
Because any girl over 8 is smarter than you.
Over the age of 40.
Are you older than an 8th grader or something like that?
Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Yeah, that's it.
I always won that thing because 5th graders are stupid.
I hope so.
5th graders are stupid. Let's see where else we got here. Of course, Scotty McIlroy.
Yeah, good.
Scotty Scheffler is not here because he's lazy and didn't think he needs to play ahead of the U.S. Open a week after winning. And we talked a lot about Scotty and the season he's having and his win at Muirfield Village on Monday's recap show. Hope everybody got a chance to, well, at least I did. Hope everybody got a chance to see that train wreck that was Monday's Muirfield recap show.
It was good.
But yeah, a lot of the regular guys here getting ready for Oakmont for next week. A lot of the regular guys. Rory is here. Oberg. And I talked a little bit about Oberg and his struggles this year, just his weird struggles here after winning Genesis, like he's fallen off the planet. and I don't know. I haven't been able to explain it, and I said on Monday's show I would turn that to you. What in the world is going on with Ludwig Åberg?
I don't think he's completely healthy still. I don't. I mean, looking at a guy. I mean, you said it right. Looking at a guy that's, if you watch him on the driving range, I watched him last week at Murfield. It was hard to tell because the weather conditions were bad, but the guy doesn't miss a golf shot, and he looks like the prototypical guy that, he kind of looks like what Adam Scott used to look like, right? Adam Scott, you watch him on the driving range, and his golf swing is like, man, how's this guy not win every single week? And I just don't think he's healthy. That's the only thing I could really pinpoint to anything. That illness that he had at the beginning of the year, and winning Genesis was kind of strange. He had it in San Diego and then goes on to win Genesis. But I think there's some underlining things health wise that hasn't really come out that's holding him back.
But we expect a turnaround from him, and he's playing maybe like he's not necessarily healthy. So, we touted him for a long time when he was still at Texas Tech, and coming into the PGA Tour as a pro, we expected huge things from him, and I still do. Yeah. It's just a matter, I guess, of him getting healthy. It's not a matter of being uncomfortable on the tour and the travel and stuff, because now he's a seasoned veteran and all of that.
Right.
And plus the amount of travel he did as an international player, as in college and then before, I don't think that ever was an issue with him. I know that's hard for a lot of guys here from the States to deal with once they turn pro, but because you don't do much of that in college. But
I mean, they're not flying Spirit. They're not paying for they're not doing that. Listen, so the travel is never an excuse anymore. I mean, that it doesn't work that way.
We also have the introduction of the new rink hole, the par 3. I forget what hole it is there at Osprey Valley, but it's the hole, and the Canadians love it. Everybody loves it. The hole is basically lined by what you would call hockey dasher boards, the end boards in a hockey rink. It's lined with the boards and with fans banging on the boards. It's a party hole. Think of it as, what's similar to what they have in Phoenix for the stadium hole. It's a party hole, and that's where everybody's going to be partying and drinking and throwing food at each other. And I love that in golf because it's such a deviation, from what people are used to seeing and from what we normally get at all of the tournaments. And I know here in Dallas, I don't know they did it so much this year. I didn't see it, but I know they're trying to turn, what is it, 16 or 17 into the little stadium holes designed by the same guy that designed the stadium hole in Phoenix. So I know they're trying to do that, but it seems like it doesn't get the attention that some of the other ones do. But hopefully this week at the rink hole, all the Canadians will love it. The Americans will love it. Speaking of the Canadians, they'll be playing second fiddle to the Americans rather than the European players this time around, because they are in Canada. And like I mentioned, Corey Connors will be the main event for the Canadians. I think he's been super consistent this year. Taylor Pendrith, Mackenzie Hughes right on his tail. And then, of course, the 2023 champion, Nick Taylor, is looking for another win there after a nice run at Memorial, I thought. So he seeks not just his second Canadian Open title, but it'd be his second win of the season. Thoughts on the Canadians going into the week?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, it's really hard to say. They're all just playing okay. There's none really stands out. They're kind of sitting in that middle of the pack, with Nick Taylor winning this year, and only Canadian winning a couple years ago forever, 50 years or however long it has been. Yeah. But Nick Taylor playing pretty solid last week at Murfield. He made some mistakes. That place was just playing hard for everybody. So if you're going to take one of those guys out, maybe Mackenzie Hughes is the guy that you would pick out of that group. It just depends on how the golf course is playing. It's going to play soft. So lengthwise, Adam Hadwin, we haven't really mentioned him playing poorly. When he's distance challenged. So if the golf course is going to play soft, you might want to think about a guy like Taylor Pendrith, who's one of the longest guys on the PGA Tour, to have more success. But Corey Connors doesn't hit it short. Mackenzie doesn't hit it short. So they're just all kind of in that middle. No one's really jumping out at me that might have a chance to win, as a Canadian for the, second time in 3 years, so we'll see. We'll see how the golf course is being set up, if length is really a factor and we'll look at it after the first couple of days, and maybe they might get in our matchups.
Very, very good. We're going to come back on the other side. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather expectations. Will Johnny see his favorite AWC out on the PGA Tour this week? They've had some rain there recently. We'll see if that continues through the week and how that affects plays. Our show brought to you today, as always, by Orion Golf Management Solutions. Head over to oriongolf.com. Find out what they can do for you as a facilities provider, food and beverage. If you need help with your F&B, they can F and help. Love that line.
That's good.
But merchandising, F&B, staffing, actual physical course management, whatever it is that you need, they can help you over at Orion Golf. Head over to oriongolf.com, and they can help you out. Let them know Tim and Johnny from the Rough sent you. We're going to take a quick break. Be back on the other side. We are From the Rough on Fanstream Sports. Back after this. Today's show is brought to you by Tom's Town, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka. Named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tom's Town, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly. Hi, golfers. IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. What is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things? To showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about, or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there over there at that turflifeclub.com.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on Fanstream Sports.
Welcome back to From the Rough, right here on Fanstream Sports, as that announcer dude just said right before we came back on the air. That is PGA of America member Johnny Gerber. I am IndyCar Tim, reminding you, today's show also brought to you by Turf Life. Head over to turflifeclub.com. Register, get yourself a little window decal, maybe a hat, so that you represent life that revolves around turf. You might work for something that involves turf. You might just like sports. That could be football, and I mean American football, baseball, golf, but not indoor baseball or indoor football. Not that kind of turf. We exclude those. It's just real.
We
turf.
want grass. We like grass.
Yeah. Whoa. It's a family-friendly show here. I don't know what you're trying to tout over there.
Mark.
Mark.
The people in the industry don't call it that anymore. That's like you got to be when you're like 85 years old.
Maybe 65. What about weed?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff. So
I don't either. I've never heard of it until you just brought it up. What is it?
Grass.
Okay. Mark.
Yeah.
Head over to turflifeclub.com. We will see you there. So, Johnny, let's get into some of the other players here that will be here we haven't talked about yet, and the odds before we get into our my dartboard picks and then your winning picks.
Winners.
You did have a winner. You had a wiener last week. It wasn't a winner, but you did have the top 20 payoff.
Yeah, we lost a little bit last week, but after 2 weeks before, we're still firmly on the plus side. Yeah,
riding high with Ben Griffin, a long shot, a ham sandwich at 48-1 2 weeks ago. That's still riding high with that. But let's talk about the favorite of course, the perennial favorite, the guy that's a favorite every week that nobody cares about.
Scotty Scheffler
is not playing because he's lazy and he can't play golf 3 weeks in a row apparently. Because he's too tired. Whatever. Get your ass to Canada, Scotty.
They might not let him in up there.
Go change. He's a felon now, right?
Yeah. He's a felon, and he looks like one of those Mounties, one of those guys that wears the bucket hat or those hats. What do they call those?
Royal Canadian Mounted Police, sir.
Yeah, Mounties.
They're Mounties. Yeah. But Rory McIlroy is here. He is 9-2, your favorite per FanDuel Sportsbook. I think these were as of yesterday. Wherever you place your bets, they may be changing. They may have changed a little bit or be a little bit different for you. But Rory is certainly the clear class of the field, even though he's not Canadian. As he leads everybody that will be here, he is leading everyone in terms of strokes gained total, strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained off the tee, all of it over the last 3 months. Since the Masters win, his play has been a bit forgettable, maybe uninspiring, but it has included a top 10 at the Truist, where he found himself in the mix over the weekend. But in a full field event, his floor shines even brighter, and another run at the Canadian title could be in the books for him, despite his quietness here over the past couple of weeks. Thoughts on Rory?
Yeah, more thoughts on, kind of weird in the schedule. He takes last week off at Memorial, a signature event, and then goes up there and play. I know he likes to go up there and play that, but it's just a weird scheduling for me. I don't know why. I tried to figure out last week why, when I was covering Memorial, why, and there was no I didn't hear a thing. So, yeah, weird scheduling. I don't know, especially with a new golf course, right? I mean, golf course that he doesn't know. Does he know if he likes it or not? Is it in his contract that he has to play up there? I don't know, but it just seems a little bit weird that he wouldn't play last week Memorial and then go up there and play this week. I don't know.
Yeah, it's odd. So we'll see how that either benefits him or hurts him heading into the Canadian Open. Ludwig Oberg, he continues to be at the top of the odds just about every week, which is baffling to me because he's not playing well. But he is at 14-1 listed by FanDuel Sportsbook, I believe, on Tuesday of this week. You think about the final round 66 last week. Was that kind of a flash in the pan, or is that him now figuring things out? We hope it's the latter, as he needs to find something in his iron play this week, just like he did last week, where he had a bogey-free performance, by the way. It could be tough sledding here for him, just as it has been over the last couple of months, but he's got as we have talked about for a couple of years now, tremendous talent. And he's going to have to have another breakthrough here. What do you think of that?
Yeah. I mean, 66 on the last round. Yeah. Is it a great round? Yeah. Does it build momentum for him? Maybe. I don't know. I don't particularly like him this week, but not to get in too much U.S. Open talk because you already cussed me out for that. But maybe a situation last week where, patience is a virtue when it comes to the U.S. Open, and him being a little stoic, not making a lot of mistakes. Maybe we look ahead for him next week. I'm not really sure this week. Does he get his game, build that momentum to work on some things? If he's not in contention for next week, we'll see. That's what a lot of these guys do. So, yeah, he's a bit of a surprise, like you said. I'll have to see a little bit more out of him as opposed to the last round at Murfield.
Right. Corey Connors, our top Canadian here on the odds at 20-1. He's second behind McIlroy in the three aforementioned strokes gained categories. And he's really just a quality putting performance away from his third PGA Tour title. This would be a good time for him as he's at home across the border. He's notched 3 straight top 20s in this tournament, including a pair of solo 6th place finishes. He now has 9 top 20 finishes in his last 10 starts.
Yeah, he's
in Canada.
Does the pressure get to these Canadian guys, to win? You look at that. That's Nick Taylor mentioned that when he did win, how much pressure it is for these guys to win this event. I'm not really sure. I mean, again, it's a quandary. I don't like him. If you look at his 2 wins, they've been in Texas.
Yeah.
Completely different types of grasses, completely different types of golf courses that they're going to be playing this week and what they do play up north. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Does it fit his game? We'll see. Again, this is a new golf course for most of these guys, and especially in competition, and it is. So we'll just have to see how they kind of move their way around it. A soft golf course for Corey Connors, I do not like.
Yeah, and again, we've questioned what the weather's going to be like. Taylor Pendrith was on Golf Channel today, as I mentioned earlier, saying that the winds were hopefully going to dry the greens out a little bit, make them a little bit faster. So we'll see how that progresses throughout the week. Shane Lowry at 22-1. His iron play has been unworldly as of late. He enters the field as the best approach player in the mix. He's plenty accurate off the tee and still has good hands around the greens. His luck turns sour, though, when he reaches the putting surface. He doesn't seem to be able to cash in on high leverage putts. That was his undoing at the Cricket Club in Philadelphia, where he looked certain to step into the winner's circle. But with 8 top 20s and 13 tournaments this year, he still looks like he's a lock to finish on the first page or 2 of the leaderboard. Thoughts on Lowry?
Love Lowry this week, especially at a golf course that, like, we'll continue to harp on it. New, I think there's a lot of dog legs, some elevation there. His creativity, I think, is going to certainly help him. I like him this week a lot.
30-1, a little cluster of guys. Robert McIntyre, Sam Burns, and Taylor Pendrith all at 30-1. Sung J M 35-1. Our new pro, former high-end amateur, Luke Clanton at 40-1. By the way, Luke gets in the pairings tomorrow for the first round. He gets to tee off his first professional tournament playing alongside Rory McIlroy and Ludwig Åberg.
Yeah, welcome to the tour.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no more number 2 player at Coastal Carolina you're playing with, bud. This is where it's happening, and this is where you're gonna see where you're at. I certainly think he's gonna play well this week. I certainly make the cut. It would surprise me if he didn't make the cut. I don't think that, he's seasoned. He's played in enough PGA Tour events that I don't think the nerves is going to get to him. I believe he's been paired with one or both of these guys before in a PGA Tour event. So I don't think the nerves, with the exception of nerves on his own, but he's not going to be nervous playing with those guys.
Yeah, I know Rory was talking about him in the press conferences today, and he said he's never met Luke and certainly hasn't played with him. So I know Rory's never played with him. That may be different with Åberg. Their college careers probably overlap just a little bit in different conferences. Yep. So I don't know if they ever met, but certainly some possibilities there. But it's a good how do you do, right, for your first pro tournament.
Yeah, take your hand and marry my daughter, right, real fast.
Yeah, exactly. And then at 45-1, a trio of guys: Harry Hall, Cashmere Keith Mitchell, and Mackenzie Hughes, all rounding out the odds. and you know what? I wanted to throw in a little bit of U.S. Open talk here for those, because I know they're wanting to hear a little bit about it. Here we are now, a little over a week away. Johnny wants to talk about it. We talked a little bit on the JP Peterson show about the influx of amateurs. And the stat that I heard was of the 52 spots that were open nationally in all of the qualifying tournaments, 11 of those getting spots were amateurs, which they said was the most they've had in years. And I don't know what the second most is. It could have been 10. It could have been 8. You kind of sounded like that was the norm and not a big deal this morning. But it seems like a big deal to me when you've got a host of guys like that are amateurs. And I know that's what the U.S. Open is for. It's to introduce guys like that to the stage and things like that. And, Rory went on and on this morning in his press conference about the young players coming up and how it's good for the game, how great it is for the game to widen the field like that a little bit, and how the focus that's been put on the attention that's been put on the young players through the PGA Tour. The university program clearly is amazing, and he was touting that. As a matter of fact, he said, because the PGA University, the top player gets into the tour every year now. That's kind of a new thing. Rory said, I would love to see that be 4 or 5 guys from the university program get into the tour, get their card every year, and go from there. I mean, I feel like that would kind of take away from their collegiate experience, and their collegiate rankings and things like that. Not rankings, but their ability to play more collegiate tournaments if you're playing more pro tournaments. But I know where he's going with it. But what are your thoughts on it, Johnny, as a former tour player and all those things? The young players coming into the game of golf, that's got to be good for the game, right? And good for the fans.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you look at that PGA Tour university system, the number one guy gets on the PGA Tour, but there's still qualifications. Then you go 2 to 12 or 2 to 15, they get the Korn Ferry Tour. And then 15 to 25, they get Las Americas, PGA Tour South America, and then Canada. So they're giving them opportunities to continue their career, which listen, I think it's great. And it just goes to show how many, when you say about the U.S. Open, the 20% of the field are amateurs getting in as an open qualifier, but there's also other ones that are in. You got the U.S. Am Champ is in, the British Amateur Champion gets in without qualification, and there's a couple other amateurs that do get in the U.S. Open. But when you're looking at open qualifying, 54 and 20% are amateurs. Yeah, it's great for the game. It's not just amateurs. It's like, look how young they are. Look how young. Yeah. I mean, you look at a 17-year-old kid that made 18 birdies and not a bogey and wins the qualifier in Georgia. And, if you look at that 15 years ago, you would never see that. Like, you just wouldn't. And that's just to constitute to how much better the training is, how earlier the kids are going into it, how more dedicated they are. I'm doing some stuff through the PGA, learning about the new systems that they're creating with the ADM model, the development model that other professional organizations around the world that's used for a long time, and how they're training, their national teams and how they're training, different sports. And they're starting to adapt that. And you're starting to see these kids at a younger age. And I've been a component of this for a long time in terms of it bothers me when I have kids that come in and take instruction from me and come in and ask me to coach them. And my first question is, do they play other sports? Because I think that's extremely important for a lot of reasons, for burnout, developing other muscles, other competitive avenues that they can get to, as opposed to getting certain specific into golf. I've seen more kids fizzle out when their parents have just done that, as opposed to playing other sports and enjoying other sports, and let them choose what they want to do. So listen, I just think there's, technology's better, coaching's better, physical fitness is better. So, as you start to see that's these implementations that's happened probably 7-8 years ago, really firm on the golf level, you're starting to see these kids now develop. I mean, other sports, bigger, stronger, faster, certainly applies to golf also, and faster in other ways, not running, but in swing speed and bigger physical fitness, things like that. So absolutely, it's great for the game. You're going to see kids that are, hopefully you see in 5 or 6 more years, that are PGA Tour winners. And you're going to say, man, I remember when that kid was 17 playing the US Open. You look at it now. I mean, you could see
look at Rory. Yeah.
Look, Bo Hostler,
Yeah.
was leading the U.S. Open, 10 years ago as an amateur, at 17-year-old amateur. And, things like that. And I think you'll start to see more and more of these stories.
Yeah, and physical fitness certainly has been stressed more in the golf game over the past 20 years. Certainly, Tiger sort of initiated that a little bit, put a more focus on it with his workout routine and being in shape, and that's affected all the guys now that have come after him. Rory's in tremendous shape. A lot of the guys on the tour are in tremendous shape. You don't have a bunch of the Craig Stadlers like you had back in my day.
Not a lot of Tim Herons out there anymore.
Tim Herons, yeah, exactly. We've still got some guys not in great shape, but it's not quite the same thing for sure for these guys. But I love that the young players are coming up, and you know what? It makes me pay more attention to the collegiate game for sure. The middle of the week when I'm here looking for something on TV, flipping channels, and the Golf Channel's got some collegiate tournament on. Dude, I'm in because I want to see who these guys are, because a lot of these guys are the guys we're going to see on the pro tour, certainly in the next few years. So you want to have a sense of familiarity with them when they come up, and then when you start seeing them in the opens and in the local tournaments and things, you want to know who they are. So for me, it's expanded my interest in the game to the collegiate level, which at one point I never cared about. I'll see these guys on whenever they play on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but so it's done that for me, and it's certainly widened my enjoyment of the game to see these younger guys not just playing but having success.
It's just crazy how far they hit it. And you can say the golf ball and the equipment all they want, but they're still extremely physically fit for golf fit. And they're athletes now. Golfers are athletes now. They're just not going out there just playing golf. These guys are athletes. The Dustin Johnson, who's athletic, the Koepka athletic guys, you're seeing that more and more now. And if you I don't think people realize how good of an athlete Dustin Johnson is. He looks big and strong, but he just tremendous athletes. Matt Kuchar, you can't tell it, but Matt Kuchar is a really good athlete.
Yeah.
So you'll start to see that more and more as these kids continue to develop.
That's certainly what we like to see. We like to see our athletes playing golf and our golfers being athletes. We are From the Rough right here on FanStream Sports. I'm IndyCarTim. That guy over there, I got the right hand for the first time.
Finally.
Johnny Gerber, PGA of America member Johnny Gerber. We'll come back on the other side. We're going to talk about Johnny's winning picks. We'll talk about my dartboard picks. And we'll probably argue about some more romance topics.
Yeah.
If I can think of some. We are From the Rough, brought to you by Tomstown Distilling Company, Kansas City, Missouri. Head over to tomstown.com. Take a gander of all of the great spirits they have over there for you. Vodkas, gin, bourbon. They got a great line of seltzers available for delivery in 40-plus states. Head over to tomstown.com. I'm sorry, toms-town.com. Make sure I at least get the right website to you to find out if it's available in your area and how you can partake in some of the great Tomstown distilling spirits, as I do quite frequently, Johnny. It's full at the studio. I'm headed to the studio here shortly for the Colby Sapp and IndyCarTim show. I might just drain a full bottle of vodka before our show starts at 7 o'clock Central Time.
Why not? That's what it's there for.
That's what it's there for. Back after this.
Hi, golfers. IndyCarTim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything. Turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka. Named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. What is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things to showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about, or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there over there at that turflifeclub.com.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to From the Rough right here on FanStream Sports. I am IndyCarTim, that guy that's not present yet at his outpost, Johnny Gerber. Coming at you, previewing the 2025 Canadian Open. Reminding everybody that John and Tim are the Jack Oak and George Cumming of FanStream Sports.
Who's that?
Those would be your first two winners ever of the Canadian Open, Johnny, back in 1904 and 1905.
You did your research. Thank you.
Very
like
nice.
That?
Jack Oak.
Sounds like I thought you were making some things up. I thought you were making a new drink or something.
Oh man, a Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
Think I should invent a Jack and Coke.
Call it Jack Oak.
Jacoke.
Jacoke.
I would do that. Would you like to know what Jack Oak shot to win the very first ever Canadian Open in 1904?
Plus 25.
You are closer than you think.
Oh, no, I'm being dead serious. Plus 25.
16 over par.
There we go.
There at Royal Montreal, and he won by 2 strokes over Percy Barrett. Percy Barrett finished second the following year in 1905 when George Cumming won the tournament at Toronto Golf Club by a score of 8 over par. He won by 3 strokes over Percy Barrett.
That's that training. That's that athlete training that they were doing back then. That's why their scores got cut in half.
But Percy Barrett got his revenge on George Cumming because Percy Barrett beat George
Married his wife
in 1907.
Cheated on his wife.
22 over par as George Cumming loses by 2 strokes.
22 over. So they didn't work out that next year.
So here's your winning scores. 16 over, 8 over, 26 over, 22 over, 20 over, 21, 19, 26 over, 19, 15, 12 before they suspended play after 1914 because of World War I. Picked it back up in 1919, and then finally, the Brit, James Douglas Edgar, finished the tournament at 2 under par, winning by 16 strokes.
Why did they stop a world war? They'd never been in no war.
Well, everybody's at war fighting. They didn't run the Indy 500 during World War I or World War II. They don't play stuff like that during times of national crisis.
But they weren't in the war.
Of course they were in the war. They were in the war before America was in World War I.
Canada ain't never been no wars.
Well, Canada tried to not let us have our independence because they preferred the Brits, but
yeah,
see where that got them.
Yeah, that's why they shot 22 over.
And then after 1919, we did not have another under par until it wasn't under, but in 1927, Tommy Armour won by one stroke over McDonald Smith, the Scot, by a score of even par.
Did he make those restaurants after that?
And then Leo Deigel finished at 2 under in 1928, and from then on, we've pretty much had your run of under par. Did golfers just get better after the turn of the century when we were shooting 26 over to win a tournament? Man, I should have been playing golf back then.
The golf balls got better. I mean, things like that.
They weren't really round yet, were they?
No, they had a tendency to be a little oblong.
Right.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things that got better. I'm not the biggest golf historian, so I ain't going to go back and tell you why. But, yes, it just evolution, right? Evolution of things.
That's where Titleist came from, right? Now, I did read this one time. That's you play Titleist balls?
No, I'm a TaylorMade guy.
You have to play TaylorMade balls, right? So Titleist, I forgot the guy's name that started it back but he was an avid golfer in the 20s, and he knew he was better than what he was shooting, and he missed like a 6-foot putt to lose a tournament, like in 1928, one of his local tournaments. I forgot where, up north somewhere.
Massachusetts, probably.
On a putt, right? And he missed the putt, and he knew, he's like, that's BS, like most of us do, right? Like, I made that putt, damn it. So he took the ball that he missed the putt with because he didn't think it rolled straight. He took his ball to a dentist friend of his who had an x-ray machine, and he x-rayed the ball, and the core wasn't centered. And he was like, I knew it. So he said, screw this. I can make a better ball. And he started designing a new golf ball. It took him about 4 or 5 years to get one ready for the public. Started playing with it, started offering it to his friends. And Titleist was born as the first perfect golf ball in the early 30s. And then, look, you start seeing strokes. You start, even in the Canadian Open, 2 under, 8 under, 9 under, 11 under, 13 under, 16 under. Guys started playing golf better because they had a golf ball.
That has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's your history lesson today, guys.
There you go. You never know what you're going to get here.
Never do.
I read that story 3 years ago, and I've been wanting to bring it up on the show ever since. And I forget every show.
There we go.
Yeah. So there you go. Well, Johnny, let's get into some of our picks. My dartboard picks here, which are always the entertainment. And it's not nearly as much fun when you're not here to make fun of them. So I hated doing the Wednesday show last week without you because it just wasn't fun for anybody. But let's take a look. And before we get into Johnny's winning picks, I would like to know what Johnny feels about my card. And I actually put a little bit of work into this one this week because it's kind of my open, right? My adopted homeland of Canada.
Yeah.
Here we go, Johnny. My top 20. A guy I've never had on my card before, ever in the history of ever. Mr. Ryan Fox.
You don't even know who he is?
Well, I do now because I did some research. He's a big hitting right-hander.
Where's he from?
I don't know where he's from. What does that have anything to do with anything?
Well, you got to, if you're going to do research, you got to do research.
Okay, well, I don't do the research you do, okay? I don't have time for that.
Yes,
I got to go to Bed Bath & Beyond and Home Depot. I don't know if I'll have enough time.
Okay, fair. They got a lot of stuff there.
He was the last man into the PGA Championship because he won the Myrtle Beach Classic.
Correct.
He's been striking the ball with poise. He had a pair of top 30s at Quail Hollow and Muirfield. So I thought, as well as he's hitting the ball for a top 20, and he's playing well recently, you know what? I'm putting Ryan Fox on my card in my top 20.
Not bad. Not bad.
My top 10 at plus 475, tremendous value at plus 475, by the way. You always talk about value. And that's what I look for. Cameron Young, coming out of a playoff at the U.S. Open qualifying site on Monday. And that could serve as a catalyst for him the rest of the year. It's been a bleak 2025 for him ever since he won Rookie of the Year, right? Like, what's he done lately?
Yeah.
But I feel like he's found something in recent weeks. A T7 at the Truist, a T25 at the Memorial. He's got some newfound confidence on the greens, and he's got some newfound power off the tee. I liked him in my top 10, Johnny. Cameron Young, especially with that value, right? Look, Scotty Scheffler became the first player since himself to successfully defend a title on the PGA Tour last week. My boy Bobby Mack's going to follow suit this week. He's been great this season. He arrives ranking 4th in total strokes gained, 9th in strokes gained tee to green, and 9th in strokes gained approach over the last 3 months. He had a little bit of a lull in the greens in April, but his putter blossomed in May.
His butter?
His butter blossomed in May.
Say that 3 times fast.
His putter blossomed in May.
Fast.
That's as fast as I can talk. I'm not your FedEx fast-talking dude from the commercials. But I think it could lead him, this play recently could lead him to another victory there in Canada at 30-1. Thought that was really good value for a winner.
And if he does, well, if he does go back-to-back, he'll go back-to-back on 2 different types of golf courses, right? So, I don't know. Yeah, he played okay. Yeah, I just don't like him. I don't like guys to go back-to-back on 2 different places.
Right.
So, we always talk about this all the time, horses for courses. Yeah, we'll see. If it was same course they played last year, yeah, I would think about it, but it's not. So I like your Ryan Fox pick more than the other ones.
Okay.
But
I'll take it.
Solid.
I'll take it. Wow, there you go. How about that? How about some of that, people? Johnny giving me some props. I like it. Well, let's get into what everybody is here for, Johnny, as we wrap up the RBC Canadian Open preview show on From the Rough. And let's see what Johnny liked for everybody to make some money on this week.
Yeah, after only cashing 1 ticket last week with Tom Hoagie finished in the top 20, we liked the card this week. We talked about earlier in the show the creativity of Shane Lowry at 20-1. Shane Lowry. I don't know if we put him on our card just because we like to say that, or we just really there's some value. Maybe a little bit of both.
You always research stuff. You would never do that.
Yeah, no, I don't play around with my money or other people's money. No. When I put out the picks, it's just not because I like to say their name. But I do like it. A golf course that, the weather could be an issue. Soft golf course. I like his short game. It's going to be tough around the greens. 20-1. I do like Lowry there. Sam Burns, 22-1. Solid performance in very difficult conditions for a couple rounds at Memorial. I think that bodes well for him. Trending well to go up to Canada, playing the same type of grasses. The rough is going to be impossible, like it was last week at Murfield. I like him in this spot, 22-1. You found him at like 30-1. So if you're able to, whoever's playing, betting, find the best value of your different sites. Shop this stuff around.
Yeah.
We use one site just for a few reasons, but shop it around. You could get some better value on different sites. They're not all the same. For what people don't understand is odds move on terms of where the money's going, not because of who's the best player and things like that. Same thing in other sports. So shop it around, see where you can get the best value. Again, here you had Sung J M at 35-1. We got him at 30-1. We like his ball striking. I think he's underperformed this year, not winning. He's one of the best ball strikers on the PGA Tour. Again, a golf course that no one's really familiar with in terms of competitiveness, and I think that bodes well for the guys who are really good ball strikers, and Sung J M fits that mold. Ham sandwich pick this week, the Monopoly man, Eric Van Rooyen, 66-1. He won the qualifier by 5 or 6 shots in Columbus. I think he's playing very well. My only issue with him may be a little fatigue playing 36 holes, but I think he's rested enough. The guy's in good enough shape. Good value there at 66-1. The guy from coming off a very pressure-packed 36 holes in Columbus to get in the U.S. Open. Getting used to playing in that type of grass is a big deal, guys. It's a big deal. So him going up there to Canada, I think he's going to feel comfortable, even though his wins were in very windy southern climates. But I think his game will travel as well as he's playing. 2 top 10 picks this week. Keith Mitchell at plus 450. Cashmere is going to be able to wear all the sweaters. Going to be able to wear them sweaters this week. He's going to feel comfortable. in a field that doesn't have a lot of superstars. Again, listen, he's an underachiever in my mind. He's one of the best ball strikers on the PGA Tour. There's not going to be a lot to do up there this week, so he's not going to be distracted. I think this golf course, you're going to have to strike it well, keep it in the fairway, hits it plenty long. I think his game fits the mold. I'm not going to pick him to win. He's got to show me more on the weekend. But I like him in this spot, top 10 at plus 450. Again, Eric Cole plus 650 to finish in the top 10. He hasn't really played as well as I thought he would this year. That being said, he's not going to make a lot of mistakes, and I think 12, 14, 15 under is going to win. I think he's going to make enough birdies and cut out the mistakes. I like him in that spot at plus 650. Two top 20s, Alex Noren and Alex Smalley, the two Alexes, plus 220 and plus 250. Alex Noren is a grinder, played really solid last week at Murfield, and Alex Smalley is one of the best ball strikers, one of the best drivers on the PGA Tour at plus 220 and 250. I like these guys in this spot. And again, I think it's a big factor that no one's really played this golf course. And you're looking at guys that you might not see contend. Alex Noren coming back from some injuries. I like him in these spots. Alex Noren might make a run at the Ryder Cup, and this may be where he starts. So I like those two guys in the top 20 spots. But again, only one ticket last week. We're still solidly over the $5,000 mark, $5,060 plus for the year. No matchups last week, 33 at 8-4 still for our matchup records. And hopefully with weather pending, we'll be able to have some matchups for everybody this weekend.
Very nice. There's Johnny's winning picks for you. Make sure you check them out each Wednesday morning on our social media sites at J Gerber PGA Pro. I might be able to put those up on the screen here for you. There you go. At J Gerber PGA Pro, at IndyCarTim. The show is at From the Rough PGA. It's right there at the bottom banner for you. Or the network is at FanStream DFW. If you want to check all those out. And then, of course, you can see the preview most Wednesday mornings also on the JP Peterson Show on YouTube, Facebook, all those places. But lots of places to go to find Johnny's picks. He'll help make you a winner without question. Great track record. And then look for as he mentioned, weather permitting, getting into some matchups Saturday morning. You can find those at all the same places. Look on X, on Facebook, and Instagram. Follow us all over the place to get all of those for you. Plenty of time to make your bets before they tee off on Saturday morning, and then the same thing on Sunday morning. And then we will be back on Monday with the recap of the RBC Canadian Open before Wednesday's big U.S. Open preview. Johnny can talk all the friggin' U.S. Open he wants. We'll get it out of our system, and, I'll want to talk about it by then, too, without question. Lots of storylines always in the U.S. Open with the amateurs playing, some of the first-time guys into the field. And conditions are always fun talking points, the way they set the course up for every single U.S. Open, but especially at Oakmont. It's always sweeter when it's at Oakmont, I think. One of the greatest U.S. Open venues in history since the Hindenburg blew up.
Oh, boy.
It's a weird point of reference for the timeline, isn't it? But
extremely weird.
But I rolled with it. We will be back on Monday with the recap, boys and girls. Please follow us, share the show. We appreciate everybody tuning in today. Remember, 214-937-0569 is where you can go find us and talk to us 24/7. We don't have to have the live show going. You can just reach out to us. We'd be happy. It's the next best thing to us giving you our personal phone number on the air. All right? And we're not going to do that. Too many of y'all already have my number, so I might change my number. I don't know. We'll go from there. We'll see you on Monday, boys and girls. Until then, y'all keep hitting them straight.